Strong Enough merch is now available. Please stop by our store and check out the items that you can grab so that you'll always remember that you are strong enough and you are worth it. Welcome to the Strong Enough podcast, where we talk about the challenges and celebrate the triumphs of people just like you. I'm your host, Claudia. Today's guest is going to share how a goal that she set 23 years ago is about to come to fruition. She's going to share the success mindset that she has that has allowed all of this to happen and how you can have that mindset too. Please help me welcome Vicky McGrath. Vicky, how are you doing today?
I am just great. Thank you, Claudia, for having me on your show. And I hope together we can help your audience create a success mindset going forward.
I love that. And I think that's a great teaser to start the episode, to be honest with you. So why don't you go ahead and tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, I'm a success mindset expert, and I speak mainly to businesses, really to help actually sales teams, because a lot of times sales teams are struggling with their sales outcomes, but they're not actually forgetting how to sell. What's happened is that their mindset has shifted and they're focusing on the negative outcomes as opposed to the positive outcomes. And so this is actually something that it doesn't matter what you do in your life, what your business is, what your, how you're living your life in at all, is that you can always pinpoint the state of your mindset based on your results, which I think is quite triggering for a lot of people, but it's an exciting thing as well, because it means that actually we are the ones that are in control of our lives and the results and outcomes that we achieve in our lives, which I personally think is a very exciting prospect, to think that we really don't need to look to another soul on the planet to make our lives exactly the way we want them to be.
I absolutely love that, because, I feel like we do often focus on the wrong things. We focus on the negatives in our lives or in, whatever's happening around us. And that will then drag us down, and it becomes that vicious cycle of being negative, having negative things happen, being more negative, and so forth and so on. So will you talk a little bit about how you discovered that this was an issue and why you wanted to help other people address it?
Thank you. What happened for me is I'm an extrovert. I love speaking to other people. I love being on stage. I love being out in the world chatting. And so when the pandemic hit, I really started to feel very isolated and anxious, as I know many did as well. And I started to notice my thoughts were becoming kind of on repeat negative, and I was feeling quite anxious. And I work from home I've always had a home-based business, which works out fine, except that when you can't go out and see people, it becomes extremely isolating. And so my husband said to me, Vic, you're going to have to figure this out, because we don't know how long this pandemic thing is going to happen. So I decided to take action. And what I noticed was that really every day I woke up and I had the same negative thinking on repeat, right? Like, it just seemed amazing to me that I woke up from day to day and the same negative spiral happened again and again. And I couldn't figure out why that just continued to happen. And so I decided to take action. I'm an action-oriented person, and I don't like feeling bad. I'm sure most people don't. So I started to investigate and research mindset training, and I came across Dana Wild, who is a brain trainer. She calls herself a mindset for entrepreneurs. So Dana Wild, she has lots of courses online, and she also has a great book, Train Your Brain. So I started to use her processes to kind of improve my own thinking. And what I noticed was that as soon as I started to feel better, all of these great ideas and insights and circumstances that I would never have otherwise noticed started to pop up for me. And so I call this your intuition, right? Where you're open to all of the amazing things that are going on around you. But if you're on this cycle of negative, repetitive thinking, you aren't open to those things coming in. So this is kind of what I discovered was that I kind of developed this formula. You notice that you've got this negative thinking going on. You decide that you don't want to continue down that path anymore. And you choose something better, different, positive. And then you feel better. And all of these great ideas, insights, people, circumstances start coming in. So that was really what happened for me. And as I continued to research mindset and how we kind of fall into this spiral of negative thinking so easily, I came across a lot of information on mindset. Now, mindset can be kind of defined as the way you think, but it's also about actions and emotions and the way that we kind of behave in the world. But what I also learned was that our mindset is programmed at birth, essentially, probably even in utero. We're surrounded by the feelings and the thoughts and the actions that our mom is during her pregnancy, how she's feeling, if she's feeling anxious or stressed or upset or angry, or if she's having a good time or a bad time. All of those things inform our psyche, I think, even as we're developing. Then I think as children, we've got this open mind and we're getting all of this input, just kind of trickling in all the time. And at that point in our lives, it turns out that we're at a point where our subconscious or unconscious mind is just accepting information. There's no ability to reject the information, and it's on repeat, right? just like everything is on repeat. Your mom teaches you how to eat, right? She's got the little spoon and when you're a baby, you push the food out, and then over time you realize how to eat. And it's the same with walking, and it's the same with talking and learning and reading and going to school. And so all our little lives, we get this program installed, and it's not our program at all. And yet, as we go through our lives, we don't realize that we're running on somebody else's program. So we're just, regurgitating what we learned throughout our lives from our families, our friends, our bosses, school, wherever. And so that's why those negative thoughts might be in there, is that they might be somebody else trying to keep us safe or, trying to protect us from doing something that would be harmful to ourselves. Everyone's trying their best. Don't get me wrong. It's totally inadvertent the way things are programmed, but whoever is programming our mind has no idea what they're doing, right? Our minds are so fantastic, are just unbelievably amazing. And we have no concept of that unless we start to look at, all of that information about how we came up with our thoughts. Are our thoughts our own? Do you know that you can pick and choose your thoughts, and that you can replace the thoughts that are no longer serving you with positive, energizing, innovating, life-giving thoughts? And so that's really a long-winded background for you about how I came to be in this space. And the more you investigate and research, how much the subconscious or unconscious mind influences our lives. It influences absolutely every aspect of our lives, our self-image, our view of the world, our ability to achieve success, our ability to lose weight, our ability to, have a successful, fun life. And so this is why I really got into, how I could use this information to help other people move forward with a success mindset, as opposed to just accepting that these same old negative thoughts are on repeat and I can't do anything about them. So I'm just going to have to, live my life based on what's going on. No, you can choose and consciously create the life you want to live. And so that's why I really got excited about this whole idea and how I could help others with it.
I love it. And I love your passion is so evident, and your energy. And I love that you have that feeling, because that's contagious. I mean, I just want to jump up right now and like go do something amazing just from hearing you talk for a couple minutes. What made you decide that you wanted to focus on salespeople and business with this newfound talent and information that you have?
So for me, it was, I'm a business owner. I've owned my own business together with my husband, since 2015. Before that, I was in the government sector, and I've always had a desire to speak. Speaking has always, I've spoken across North America with my government career for 20 years, and I speak at every opportunity in the business community now. And what I learned through, speaking with others or especially over the pandemic, right? It was really evident that so many were struggling with that sensation or that feeling of being isolated, those feelings of having, negative thinking. And a lot of what I noticed was that sales people in particular, who were maybe used to being out, talking to their prospects, talking with their clients, were struggling with this mindset challenge as well. And so I decided that, I'm in sales. In my business, sales and marketing are key to any business. So I love business. I'm excited by business. I have a really difficult time kind of not being always in my business. And so I thought, well, this is an exciting opportunity to help others who are kind of in that sales industry to use the things that I've learned to help them. They may not be able to change the circumstances with COVID, right? We may not be able to be out in the world, but what we can do is change our mind. And so by changing your mind, you change your results and your outcome. And this is where, I kind of got to the point where I know how to sell. I sell every day. I find sales exciting and I love meeting people. And this is the case with every salesperson, is that they are out there dealing with their prospects. But if you're doing it from a phone as opposed to being in person, for example, some sales folks have call reluctance, for example, right? You don't feel like you want to pick up that phone. There's something about that anxiety about picking up the phone, where maybe you're really great at going in person and meeting people, or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you have no problems picking up the phone, but doing that sales presentation in person is a challenge. And so at the end of the day, what it actually is mindset. It just boils down to mindset. And so if you can use the phrases, the affirmations, the mantras, whatever you want to call it, that help your brain choose the positive outcome as opposed to go with the anxiety or the negative thought, then that's where you feel motivated and excited and interested. And so that's where that all came about, really, was just how I could help other salespeople continue to succeed through this kind of challenging time. And the reality is now, if things happen again, who knows in the world, right? Now they have the tools to be adaptable and have that success mindset that can guide them and drive them no matter what the circumstances are. And that's about the outcome or the result, right? Is that we choose our own thoughts, we choose our own mindset. And as a result of that, nobody else needs to know what you're thinking. That's the other thing I really love about mindset is you don't have to tell anybody, right, what you're thinking. You can just be chugging away in your mind, telling yourself how great you are and how great your life is and how great everything is going. And it doesn't matter what actually is happening in the world because it's just what you're telling yourself.
I love, what you said about loving salespeople and being a salesperson. I equate everything with sales, to be honest with you. Even when I was a police officer, to me, that was a sales job because I had to sell whatever solution I had, in my back pocket, whether that was taking you to jail or making you, or, trying to get you to leave your house so that you didn't continue to fight with your spouse. I had to sell that solution to you. So I also feel really strongly about sales. And I feel like in some way, we're all salespeople in that regard. What kind of positive impacts have you seen this mindset shift have in people's general lives, not just their work?
Well, I think what happens is that when you start to feel more positive and you start to get those ideas and insights and circumstances in your life, you feel excited by that and motivated by that, and you want to set goals. You want to achieve more. You're expanding, your mind is expanding. So what I've noticed generally is that people really start getting excited about expanding their lives. They want to set goals. They want to set big goals. And they think in their mind they can do it. And that's the key piece, right? I think you're absolutely right. Everybody is in sales. A mom is trying to sell her family on, healthy eating, or during all of this homeschooling, right? That being online is the necessary and that you have to do that to learn, or it's the business person who's trying to sell something out in the community online as opposed to in person. Everybody is in sales. I totally agree with you. And so I think what happens is that once you start to get those great ideas coming in, you just want to continue to grow and grow and grow. And that's what I've noticed the most out of the groups that I've chatted with, the people that I've presented to, is that they want to continue to achieve goals. And the nice thing about mindset is that it is an ever expanding awareness. Really, our minds are amazing. They have no limit, right? They really are unlimited in their capacity for, whatever it is that we want in the world. And the fun thing is, as I've mentioned, when you're setting a really big goal, it causes a lot of anxiety and stress and excitement at the same time. But the nice thing about it is that you don't actually have to tell anybody about that goal. You can just continue to take the actions that come to you through your positive mindset and build yourself towards that goal. And then, once you've achieved it, you can say, oh, that was fantastic. I set my mind to that and I achieved it. And then you keep going. And so that's the nice thing about mindset is that, having a success mindset applies to every aspect of your life, and every aspect of your life, you can continue to expand. So that's, I think, the most exciting thing for me is watching, people who had call reluctance or who had fear of presenting, they take the mindset of, I'm going to get in front of my prospect. I'm going to get in front of my prospect before 9 a.m. every morning. That's my goal, right? And then they take action that comes to them, and then it's a great outcome. they meet people, they get exciting goals achieved, they get more sales, and so then they continue to build from there on what else they can do.
I know a lot of people say that when you set a goal, you should share it with other people because then you are held accountable. I like what you said though about how you can set that goal in your head and you can just continue to work towards it. You don't have to tell anybody about it. So, what do you think is the difference in telling versus not telling? Do you think one is better than the other?
Well, I think it depends on the circumstances. If you're in sales, what happens is that a lot of times it's what's projected is kind of incremental, right? So you might have a projection from your company or your organization that you're going to be 10% better next year than you were this year, just as an example. Well, what if you wanted to just go crazy and 100 times your sales output for the year, right? You don't have to tell anybody that you're doing that because other people might say to you, that's just crazy. You can't do that. That's not been done before. But this is what happens is, and so, part of what I've observed from my research on, the programming that happens in our mind is that when we set those really big goals for ourselves, that subconscious mind bubbles up, right? And it says to you, you can't do that. That's not right. That can't be done. You don't have the skills. You don't have the education. You don't have the knowledge. How can you do that? And then we start to fear and fall back and say, okay, that's too big. I won't do that. But if you don't tell anybody that that's what you've done, then you can press on, right? You can say, no, mind, I'm not doing that. I'm choosing this instead, and just keep going with what comes through. And so, the thing about the programming is that the people in our lives are all part of that existing program, right? We've come to that point in our lives, and our families are part of that program. Our business is part of that program. That's where we got to with the current thinking that we have. And I really like to warn people because your family might not like what you're doing. Your family might be scared that you're not going to be the person that they know anymore. Your boss might be scared that suddenly you want his job or her job, or your colleagues might say, that's crazy. Don't go so crazy because then you make me look bad, right? So that's why I like keeping them in your own mind, because as you see that programming bubbling up, you can make the point, okay, that's my program, that's my old habits, old beliefs, old thinking patterns, and I choose positive success. I choose to move forward despite that. You don't have to, I think when you're making that adjustment, it's going to be uncomfortable. And that's why I don't like telling people, because, as you're feeling uncomfortable, that's your own doubt, your own anxiety, your own fear-based thinking. But if you haven't told anybody, then you don't have to say, I don't think I could do it. I think I might have chosen the wrong goal. If you decide to choose a different goal, that's totally fine. If you didn't tell anybody, then nobody's going to say to you, see, I told you so, right? And I think that's why I like the idea of setting internal goals and thinking about them and using positive mindset to succeed on them.
I really like that because it feels like you are then only having to defend yourself to yourself versus, like you said, people saying, oh no, you can't do that. That's crazy. You're going to make me look bad. Like everybody else is throwing, their drama and stuff on top of you. And so that's just more stuff that you have to fight off. How
Exactly.
difficult, how difficult is it for us to change that programming though that we've been dealing with since before birth?
Well, I guess that's another mindset, another mindset thought, right? Is that it's as difficult as you want it to be, right? So you can just go. What I like to do with when I'm going through this step-by-step formula, notice what your negative thoughts patterns are and decide that you no longer want to continue with that and choose something positive. So when you get to the choose the positive stage, I go with really general. Really start with really, really general, because that's not threatening. It's not going to cause your mind to go, woo, right? So you start really general, I can do this. Things are really working out for me. Everything is unfolding perfectly. Things magically unfold for me. I'm really getting this now. I can really do this. Everything is going my way, right? So you just start with general. And that way, that's soothing and yet uplifting. And so then what you do is that every time you notice that you've got that, negative thought on repeat, or that fear or anxiety-based thinking is popping up, just repeat the general, positive, soothing. And then that's how, eventually that program kind of, it's like having a glass of water. You've seen a glass of water when you pour dirt in it, it's all foggy first, and then the dirt settles down, and then there's clarity on the top of the glass of water. That's like your mind, right? So if you continue to add soothing, positive, happy thoughts in there, then the negative thinking, the anxiety-based thinking, kind of settles down. And that's where the good ideas start to percolate and bubble up, right? Because all of that negative thinking has settled down, and it allows for great ideas and insights and thoughts and circumstances to pop into your mind that wouldn't have otherwise been able to do that. So I like to have, it's like a phased approach, right? You start really general, really soothing, so that your mind doesn't kind of go, ooh, what's happening? I don't like it, right? And then you can get more specific over time, depending on what you want the outcome to be for your thinking. And so that's the lovely part about mindset, is that you can use it more and more specifically towards your goals, your outcomes, whatever it is that you want to achieve. You can start to more specifically program in the things that are going to get you where you want to go, bring you the people, bring you the ideas, bring you the circumstances. And so that's really kind of the process, is that, when you're working with your audience, you're giving them the step-by-step so that they can use that going forward for everything. And the other beautiful thing about it is that as you continue to expand, you can continue the process over and over and over again. And if a negative thought bubbles up, or old habit or old belief pops up, then you just start back with the soothing general, right? Just start, because every time you kind of expand or grow, and it's a little bit scary, or something, there's fear coming up, then that old program is going to bubble back up again until you can kind of settle it back down and then move forward from there. And so that's the other amazing thing about mindset, is that it's like an ongoing process for the rest of your life. So it's exciting.
How do we control, or how do we temper our positive mindset with processing negative events that happen?
Well, I sort of feel like negative events are part of other programs. So I see that as the outcome of negative programming somewhere else. We live in a world, whatever anybody thinks, we're all connected. We're all interdependent. We all have interdependencies in everything that we do. So we're going to be impacted by the other people in the world. However, what I would say is that if it is not a personal impact, or something that is, causing you harm, or something traumatic for yourself, the best way is to continue with building your positive mindset, because that negative outcome that's happening elsewhere doesn't have to impact your thinking. You can still have empathy, you can still have compassion, you can still feel that you'd like to contribute to the solution if you can, but your mindset is your own mindset. It's your own. And so you can just control your own thinking and be positive. The other thing I would like to say is that having a positive mindset uplifts everyone around you. And so it's that trickle effect that your family and your colleagues and your friends won't even know why you're different. They won't know why you're happier or you're feeling better or you're more exciting to be around or more motivating for them. So I feel like that ripple effect can also have a global ripple effect. The more people are having that positive vibration, the greater it is on the world around us. Maybe that seems far-fetched, but that's my own opinion, is that I feel like if we're having a positive impact on others and uplifting them, then the negative things that are happening, they're still going to happen. As I say, they're the outcome of somebody else's program, but we can manage our own bubble and keep moving forward in a positive direction so that going forward, that positivity is what brings us out, as opposed to allowing, because to fall back and think about all of the terrible things that are happening and how you have no control of them just puts you back into that negative, repetitive thinking spiral. And it doesn't benefit anyone. You're not benefiting from being there. You're suffering. The people around you are suffering from that negative spiral. Your whole life is suffering. And so that's why, choosing positive mindset or success mindset is so critical for your own well-being, as well as the well-being of those around you.
Do you think that there is a reason why a lot of people tend to settle into that negative mindset far more easily than shifting to a positive mindset?
Well, I think that's easy. They don't know. They're not aware, right? And if you're not interested, if you're not motivated to look at what's happening in your own mind and investigate, right? Is that true? Is that real? Isn't that my mom talking? Right? Like, you could be saying things that are generations old, and really, do you want to keep saying or thinking those things? Those things have nothing to do with you. They're not even your thoughts. And so that's the key part, is that every time I'm speaking to a group, I hope that even if just one more person realizes that they don't have to choose the things that are just on repeat, they can consciously create their own lives, their own futures, their own thinking for the rest of their lives. When you start to do that, like, the whole world of possibilities opens up. And so that's kind of the step, right? That's when I noticed that I had this repetitive negative. I think even the 96% of my thoughts were like the same thoughts from the day before and the day before and the day before. And I just thought, this is just crazy. Nobody feels good with this. So that's the thing, is that you have to notice and be aware, and then choose a different outcome.
The choosing is clearly the key. So
Yes.
when you make that choice, so let's say we're on that path and we are going to be more positive and we're going to start setting these goals for ourselves. Is it better, do you think, to start out with a smaller, easily achievable goal, or to shoot for the stars? Or does it matter?
I think what you have to do is just decide. Just decide. I am going to do this, and I am going to burn all the bridges behind me to get there. It's just a decision, right? It's just a decision. And you're gonna, if it's a life-changing, life-altering, amazing goal, it takes time. You don't know. Let me give you an example. So I've always been a little bit of a different thinker. So, maybe that's that's why I get so excited about these things. But in 1999, I went to Hawaii to get married with my husband, but we didn't go as a destination wedding. We went so that I could watch the Ironman World Championships triathlon in Kona, which is, the holy grail of triathlon.
Mhm.
So I coordinated the wedding around that event. And when I was there, we were there for 14 hours from the start of the swim till whatever time we decided to pack it in at the end of the day. The whole day cheering on the athletes, taking in that amazing, vibe of all of that incredible energy. And I decided at that time, I am doing the Ironman World Championships, whether I have to outlive my competition or whatever the case may be. I decided in my mind I was going to do that. So that was 1999. I started doing triathlon in 2000, and I have done something every year since then to continue my action, whatever that may be. I've entered a contest, I've entered a lottery. The Ironman World Championships are typically only by qualification. So you have to be fast and fabulous to get an actual spot, which I'm neither. I'm a back of the packer at best. And so I would enter lotteries, I would enter contests, whatever I could do that wasn't dependent on qualification. And, last year during COVID, they offered me a charity spot. Really huge fundraising effort required, but they offered me a charity spot 22 years later. And do you think I said, no, it's COVID, I can't travel? Not on your life. Right? I was like, okay, I am in, but I'm going to have to defer to 2022 because I can't even get there right now. Right. So that's just an example. You don't know how long something is going to take. And if you're not committed, if you don't decide that that's what you want, then it'll just fade off into the background and, you'll just, do something else or whatever the case may be. So that's the key. You decide what you want and you burn all the bridges behind you. You say, I am never going back until I achieve that goal. So the goal has to be pretty amazing, pretty exciting, and maybe huge. But nonetheless, it doesn't matter whether the goal is that big or if it's just, I want to lose 10 pounds. You have to decide and you have to take action based on your decision, and you have to prime your brain for positive thoughts. I can do this. This is going my way. Everything is working out for me. You just keep priming your mind. And then as you get a little closer, you start to implement some more specific mindset affirmations or mantras, and that's just how it goes. It doesn't matter if it's big or small. So for me, I say, go crazy, go as big as you want, and recognize that it's going to take time. If you've never made $1 million before, making $1 million might take time, right? And everything you learn along the way is contributing to your successful outcome. But, just recognize that no matter what happens, everything doesn't happen overnight unless something really miraculous occurs, which would be fabulous too.
So are you Ironmanning it this year?
I am. October 6th. I am going to be in Kona, Hawaii, doing the Ironman. So, yay.
That's
so
amazing.
Exciting.
Yeah. That's also
exciting.
My mom's birthday. So happy birthday to Mom.
Yeah.
I know you haven't done it yet, but how amazing do you know that is going to feel 23 years later from the day that you said, I am going to do this?
Well, I think, what's exciting now is that I see the steps that I've taken, and they're totally replicable for anybody, right? It's really just, you feel good, you take action that comes in through, the great ideas and insights that you get, you feel good, you take some more action, you feel good, you take some more action. So what I've been doing as well, and that I also recommend as part of the process for anyone who's trying to achieve a goal, is visualization is really key. Visualizing yourself achieving or having achieved your goal. And so that's, for me, I've been visualizing, I've had vision boards, whatever it is, I've visualized myself. Because we've been there, it's easy for me. I've seen everything. I've seen the finish line. I know what it looks like. I know the electricity of the crowd there. So I visualize myself, going through the swim, the bike, the run, and finishing at the finish line. So that's the other key, is that if you can set that up in your mind as already completed, then you can actually set forth how you will feel when you do achieve it. And that's the key for everything, is that feeling good and excited and motivated about what's to come is so key for keeping that positive mindset. So for me, I have every expectation that it's going to be as fantastic as I've been visualizing for all this time.
And it most certainly will be. When I was 14, I decided that I was going to win the state championship in the 800 meters the following year. And I kind of, like you were talking earlier, I just like one day said, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that next year. And I did. And it seemed, I don't want to say effortless, like training and all that was not effortless, but making that decision as a 14-year-old was effortless. Do you think it gets more difficult or easier as we get older to make these positive declarations and have that mindset and make it happen?
I think it definitely gets more difficult as we go through life because, there's so many messages in the program around being a good parent, being a responsible parent, having a good job, making sure you save for retirement, making sure you have a nice house, or maybe making sure that you're taking care of everybody else. Right. So I think it becomes much more difficult because we allow that program to be what drives us. And so as we move forward in life and we take on more responsibility, having kids, owning a home, whatever the case may be, saving for retirement, all of those things lock us more into that that protective program. Oh, don't risk it. It's too scary. What if you aren't there for your kids? What if your wife leaves you? What if your husband leaves you? What if you have to use your retirement savings because you've blown it? Right. All of those negative beliefs that we've picked up over time from our parents or whoever else, was trying to protect us. But nonetheless, so I think it becomes more difficult. And I think the other thing is that when we don't investigate that kind of negative belief or habit pattern that's in our mind, is that we don't challenge it to say, I don't think that's right. I think if I achieve that goal, things are just going to be even better. And so we kind of tuck away all of our optimism and our motivation. And we think, oh, okay, well, I'll do it when the kids graduate, or, when I've finished working or I'm retired or whatever. But let's face it, for some of us, that's a long way away. And you hear way too often about people who get to retirement and they're a little bit on the elderly side by then, and something goes wonky and they can't enjoy the life that they were predicting or projecting for themselves. So I think what we have to do is start to dream and really think about what we want. What do you want? Not what your kids want, not what your spouse wants, not what your family wants. What do you want? And I think that's the key piece, is that if you allow yourself to dream and get excited and be motivated, then that's when those positive ideas and things will start to pop in. And that's why I also really like the keeping it into yourself mindset, because you can start to think about the things that are exciting and start to dream about how you might be able to achieve them. And then as they come to you, you can say, ha, right? That worked. That was awesome. I want to do more. And I think that's the key, is that you have to allow yourself to, choose the different thought patterns, choose to be motivated and excited by life, and choose to be a person of expansion and success mindset, as opposed to just accepting the program that's telling you it's too risky, you can't do it. It's the program. It is totally the program that is telling you that. And so, but as we get older, we definitely get more settled in that thought pattern and belief pattern, and we don't allow ourselves to choose other thoughts, more positive thoughts.
How do we rein ourselves in? So, a lot of people say you can be whatever you want to be, you can do whatever you want to do. And to some extent, yes, that is true. But like today, if I said, I am going to be the next quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders, that's never going to happen. So how do we make sure that we're not getting too crazy with our dreams, and we're actually doing something that we want and that's meaningful to us and that is attainable?
Well, I think attainable is totally relative to what you're willing to do for it, right? I personally feel like our minds and our awareness are geared for something special within us ourselves, right? So I have the gift of persistence and determination. Right? Other people have the have courage, or other people have creativity, or other people are fabulous at making things. So I think whatever we want in our lives is based on what we're good at or what we could be successful at. So I don't know whether you're successful at football. Maybe you are, but if you were, then hey, go for it, right? And what happens is that the circumstances and the ideas and the insights that come to you as you develop your success mindset guide you, right? They guide you to the next best outcome for you. So I don't think we would ever choose anything that was really outside of our ability to achieve. I think we're going to go for what excites us, what motivates us, and what we really want to achieve as our own special person, right? So that, I think, is the key, is that, if you're a child and you want to become a sports star, do you have the ability to choose and decide that that's what you're going to do? 100%. But it's the effort that you put into it. It's the mindset that you develop. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. And then, maybe over time you realize, actually, I can't do this. I'm just not set up for this. I'm not physically capable. I don't want to. It's too much work. It's too much effort. So then you choose the next or a different goal or something else that allows you to still feel fulfilled and excited and motivated. But maybe you realize that you're not going to be an Olympic athlete after all, and that's okay. Just continue to choose what's motivating and exciting for you. And I think, a lot of times what we think is achievable is really just based on mindset. So if we have a mindset that it's not achievable, it's not achievable. If we have a mindset that it's achievable or something better or something like it, then it's achievable. And that's why, the success mindset is so key in everything that we do.
I absolutely love that, because I think it is important that we focus on what really matters to us. Because at the end of the day, I don't really want to go be a quarterback, because I don't want to get hit, on every play, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I love how you kind of framed that and talked about what we're looking at internally and how we proceed with that. So that was fantastic. What is the first step obviously changing our mindset, but what is the one tiny thing that somebody can do today to start this process of a success mindset?
So I would start with noticing. Notice your repetitive thoughts. So just notice, just maybe take a week and just kind of notice, okay, this is what's on repeat. This is kind of what I've been thinking for some time, or, this is sort of familiar. This is the feeling I have most of the time, right? I'm at kind of this low state of feeling, or low vibration, or however you want to call it, right? So just notice, that's the key thing. And then decide if that's what you want to continue doing, right? It's very easy. You notice you're feeling anxious, you're feeling depressed, you're feeling unhappy, you're feeling unmotivated, you're feeling blah, whatever the feeling is. Notice what the thoughts are that are contributing to that feeling, and then decide, do you want to continue feeling that way, or do you want to feel better? You don't have to choose to be, the ultimate right now. Do you just want to choose to feel better? Do you want to feel better? And who doesn't want to feel better, right? And so those are the kind of the two fundamentals. Notice and decide, and then choose better.
Love it. Notice, decide, choose. We're going to take a quick turn here before I let you go, and we are going to talk about tattoos. So I, again, have on a hoodie, even though we are recording this at the end of May. It is chilly here and just snowed a couple days ago, so you can't see any of my tattoos. I know that you don't have any tattoos right now, but you have contemplated a tattoo. I would love to hear, if you were going to get one, what would it be?
Well, it would be an Iron Man tattoo. So the Iron Man has a very specific logo, and that's what I have contemplated. And that's what I would do if I had one. I just think about what body part I would put it on, because some people put their tattoos on body parts that are never seen by anybody else, which is fine, because the tattoo is actually all for you anyway. But some people like to have a tattoo as like a conversation starter, right? So you could have a tattoo somewhere evident for other people to say, hey, you're an Iron Man, or hey, what race did you do? And then you have to think about, okay, do I really want to have those conversations everywhere I go? So that's why I hesitate to get one, is just because I'm not sure where I would put it. That would be what I want at the end of the day. Where are your tattoos, Claudia?
Where aren't my tattoos, Vicky? They I've got an arm almost full, and then my ankles, my calves, my thighs. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on. But I hear
when you choose tattoos, does each tattoo have meaning for you? Like, do they build on each other? Are they all independent? How does that work for you?
So a little of each, I would say. I have a couple that have built on one another, and then a couple that are completely independent. All are meaningful in some way. So right. Whether it's about my podcast or things I've been through in life, everything does have a story for me.
Right. And so do people approach you about your tattoos, or not really? Like, is it kind of 50-50?
I would say, yeah, maybe 50-50. A lot of people will just say like, oh, I love your ink, or, oh, I love your tattoos. Some people will ask, what does that mean? Or what's that one all about? I have a lot of song lyrics, so those are kind of obvious because it's words. Mm-hmm. But I think an Iron Man tattoo, though, would be very conversational, because as you said that, I was thinking like on your ankle, because then it's small and unobtrusive. You can cover it with socks if you wanted to. And then if you didn't, it would be there to have the conversation.
Right. Yes, I like that approach. I've thought of that myself. And some people get it on the back of their calf, which seems like an odd place to me, but I've seen a lot of people get it on the back of their calf. So I guess it's the same thing, right? If you can cover it with a sock or not.
Exactly. And I have seen that a lot too, like with marathon tattoos on the back of the calf as well, now that you mention it. So
yeah, I think that's maybe like an elitist statement, right? Like you can see the back of me.
Right. I am in front of you.
Exactly.
Yes. I feel like you would be a great candidate for Momentary Ink. So it is a company where they have pre-made stuff, but you can give them your own design and then they will send it back to you, and it lasts 2 to 3 weeks. So that might be a cool way for you to try it out in some different places. Because I don't know, I feel like you might do this one after October 6th.
Yes, that would be actually, it would be very exciting to have it on during the Ironman.
Yes.
Test it out.
I will give you that info.
All right,
we're done. Good. So Vicky, where can people find you? So if they want to talk to you about the success mindset, if they want to talk to you about Ironman training, where can people find you?
They can find me at www.vickymcgrath.ca. And that also has the option of opting in for a very fun visualization practice that I have, and also somewhere where you can schedule a complimentary call with me to learn more about maybe where you could book me to speak, or where I'm speaking coming up, so that maybe you want to join in. So that would be great.
Excellent. Vicky, you have been amazing. Thank you so much for sharing with the audience today what they can do to gain that success mindset.
It has been my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, Claudia.
I hope you guys enjoyed my conversation with Vicky as much as I did. I really appreciate how she broke down the success mindset into small pieces that you can start working on today. So remember, until next week, you are strong enough and you are worth it. Thank you for listening to the Strong Enough podcast. You can find us on your favorite podcast platform by searching Strong Enough. And on YouTube, we're on the Spear Talk channel. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Strong Enough Pod. If you have suggestions for an upcoming episode or a future guest, please reach out at strongenoughpod@gmail.com. Remember, you are worth it.